Huh? All right, 4 p.m. This work session for Mayor and Council is called to order. Roll call, Mr. O'Brien, please.
Mayor Longston.
Present.
Commissioner Carter. Here. Commissioner Ritchie.
Here.
Commissioner Grove.
Here.
And Commissioner Forsyth is traveling and will not be here today.
Okay. Moving into meeting topics for next week's council meeting, looking at item 3A, ordinance 2026-01. Mr. Miller, an update on that.
We just had some questions from a citizen regarding the ordinance. I believe she's going to be speaking. I think Patrick had a little more insight on it. I believe she's going to be speaking and attending the next meeting. The planner has addressed her questions, but I don't think to her likings.
Okay.
So,
We've had comments from other citizens too. So just to clarify what this is, I know we've talked about this before, but just kind of to go through it again. The intention of this is to allow things that are already allowed in a commercial district under, Jamie could explain this better, I guess, but it's just, what's the intent of this?
you have to get Jamie to explain it a little better. It's to allow things
Okay.
to people to run a small business out of their basement per se.
Right.
So
It's no delivery, no employees, no
Right.
workforce,
Stuff that
no
people are
change
already
in
doing in
people
their
already
houses right
doing,
now.
yes,
So
in a
currently,
nutshell.
it was special exception for
Exception.
commercial districts. And what it is in order for somebody to go through that process, it's pretty lengthy. So it would allow it as just a permittable process. We would still need to be approved by the city, just not necessarily go through Board of Zoning Appeals and those types of things. And then it would allow for special exception in the residential. But so that would have to go through the long process, be approved by Board of Zoning Appeals and that.
I think one of the questions that really stood out was when we discussed this last month, the concept of allowing something to take place in a residential structure, whether it is or is not the primary intention of that residential structure. So in other words, there's a difference between somebody lives in this house and runs a small business out of their basement versus somebody buys a residential home to use it for the express purpose of using it as a business. I think that was something we talked about, and that was the question that we got from the constituent you talked about and also others. So is that,
So technically, it would allow for that type of concept to happen, but because of the limit and size of what a artisan business, small manufacturing business can do, it would almost be feasibly impossible to buy a piece of property just to do that, because you can't have deliveries there and those types of things. Like it's not meant to be at that size of a scale. The other part of that too is everything does have to go through the Board of Zoning and Appeals. So if it's something that doesn't fit really with what that district would look like, they would deny it. And when it goes through that process, it does allow neighbors to come out and voice their opinions about what should be there and shouldn't be there.
And
So,
the planning commission did recommend that the special exception be made
okay.
for
Yeah.
residential.
Originally, it was to take it away as just an exception for commercial. They realize that there's enough people, especially in today's economy, that have some sort of side business where they're trying to make a couple bucks doing something small, that they actually suggested that it should be an exceptional use for residential.
Well, and I think just the feasibility of it too. I mean, somebody who has, a small business that, it could be considered a hobby or a side business or something that can't afford or doesn't want to pay, $1,500 a month to rent commercial retail space, is not going to buy a $300,000 house with the express purpose of doing that, right?
And this would be for small artisan things, so nobody's gonna open up a restaurant in an R1 or, like, that doesn't fit into that. It's more of, and there's people probably doing it already that aren't registered, that are, making jewelry, or in the garage, they make, a chair out of, a stump or something once a month and, wind up selling it. That's technically a small business, so this would allow that to be officially approved.
Got it. Okay. All right. Anything else on that before we move on? Okay. Moving on then to ordinance 2026-02. This is the smoke detector ordinance.
I think Patrick has it up there. You have it up there yet?
I can put it up there, sir.
Okay. Attorney Cohen has made the adjustments as requested the last time we read over this. Like for the mayor and council to take a look at the items in red. Is items that Attorney Cohen had made adjustments to in the ordinance. We have removed the interconnecting portion of it as requested. at the last meeting. You can scroll down.
And to be clear, that removes our increased requirement and just brings it back down to
To
the
the-
interconnected requirement of the IPMC.
Of the IPMC, yes.
Got it.
Yep. So, rolling down through there, everything you requested, we have updated and changed. In this, we are considering letting you look through it this time and maybe bringing it up at the March meeting due to some maybe lengthy meeting next time, but nothing's really changed other than we took the interconnectivity out of it. However, in some reading, we did find some outdated language in the carbon monoxide alarms. We're going to propose that we adopt the fire marshal's requirements on that from 2018, where they can be a 10-year sealed battery, carbon monoxide, following the state law, be adopted, because we're still under 2012, correct, Patrick?
Of the IPMC, yeah.
Yes, of the IPMC.
This is actually from Maryland state law from 2018. So since we adopted the IPMC, the rules around carbon monoxide detectors has changed. So our suggestion is to take the language from the state requirement and update our code.
Because currently in our code, it says that carbon monoxide are supposed to be interlinked as well.
But it also says it just needs to be in rental units that have fuel burning.
Yes.
Technically, the state, if it's a rental unit, it has to have them in certain areas throughout the house, no matter what. So
With an attached garage and,
yeah, so we're updating it to that.
Okay.
We actually, Jay was looking at this, actually after we got the language back from Michael about smoke detectors. We weren't really paying attention to the carbon monoxide one because we were focused on smoke detectors. It happens to be in this part of the ordinance. So since we're updating the others, we figured it would be time to do this.
and this can be achieved by switching out your two hardwired with just a combo smoke alarm. Carbon monoxide detector is allowable as well.
Okay.
So, or any of your normal smoke detectors is a combo unit.
The one thing that we do need to talk to Michael about potentially adding in, because when we had this conversation, it was before we had really looked at what it would look like after it was done. At one point, we were having a conversation about the firewall concept and how that was pretty much impossible to really figure out. And there was discussion about potentially making it so that any new rental property that came into our program, that we may require the interconnectivity, not necessarily hardwired, but make that part of the requirement for all basically newly added properties. That is not currently in here, so right now everybody's held to the IPMC and our code. Is that something that we wanted to add, or is everybody comfortable with everybody kind of going off of the same concept? So it would basically mean that anybody that is new to the rental program or had gotten out of it at one point and comes back in would have to, no matter the age of the property, would have to update their smoke alarms to be interconnected.
Now, with that being said, a suggestion that Jay and I didn't get to talk to Patrick much about it today, we had a bunch going on, but we suggested it potentially with that type of thing, just following the IPMC, because the grandfathering in our code gets a little confusing to what you're grandfathering.
Yeah, and so this would just follow the
Yeah,
IPMC if we
you
didn't.
just
require
follow the IPMC.
That's what I would say, because I mean, again, if somebody's going in and gutting a place and stuff, it's one thing.
Yeah.
If they're just taking a single family house and turning it into a rental, it's not.
That's just something Jay and I discussed
Okay.
today. And we can, again, table this a little bit till March, till we get that fully cleaned up,
Okay.
Well, and
if that's what you want to
we
do.
do have to give it back to Michael to
Yeah.
add the carbon monoxide stuff in there. So if he has it ready by the next meeting, we may introduce it, but if not, it'll be in the meeting afterwards.
We just want to get it cleaned up and
Mhm.
right on and move
Mhm.
on.
Yeah,
So-
no, I agree. I'd rather get it. We've talked about this long enough.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the things to look at in the future is, because we are following the 2012 IPMC, there has been a handful of new laws that have come into place that I think we've kept up with pretty well. Changes in code that, gets updated. At some point in the next few years, it may be time to start looking into adopting one of the newer IPMCs to be a little bit more up to date.
Yeah, I believe there's a 2021 version now.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that would take some time.
yeah.
Yeah. I think before we do that, we need to get rid of, or not get rid. We need to. I can't think of the word. Coalesce around whatever exceptions or things that we have that are going beyond that, figure out what those are first before we go into a new code. So what, back to the smoke alarms itself. I know you said we deleted a lot, some of the stuff that was extra on top of the IPMC. What, if anything, is still in there that is in addition to the IPMC standard? Just this section here, 6.5, I think. It's on numbered page 8 in my packet.
6.5 where it says the carbon monoxide.
No, I'm back in the smoke alarms. This section. This is in the code now. Right? You're in on.
The fire extinguishers, yes, that's
Yes.
in our code.
Oh, extinguishers. Yes. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, that's in our code.
So that's the only thing we have in there that's in addition to the IPMC after these deletions that we've made.
Correct.
Okay.
Basically just brought it down to the IPMC code.
Right,
We just
okay.
cleaned up our language to meet that.
Got it.
But we still have a little more tweaking to do on some of it to bring it to that. With the carbon monoxides, we gotta put that in there to meet the state,
Okay.
2018 state, because the 2018 carbon monoxide is not in the 2012 IPMC.
So the one thing that, well, the
Yeah,
two
it's very,
things that,
makes your head.
that aren't in the IPMC are, if you look at the one spot that says areas within a rental unit consisting of a space substantially separated from an area containing an existing, smoke alarm, I believe the IPMC just says living quarters. So this does allow, if there's a house that is laid out interestingly, that if there's an area separated out that doesn't have somebody living in it, that we can require a smoke detector in that. So if there's a den or something like that, that it would make sense to have one in. I think that little bit of language of otherwise isolated from an area protected by a smoke detector, is something we've added. And then the other thing would be, the requirement to replace any damaged alarm within 3 days. And we did add in that, if there is not a smoke detector in the facility, or if there's not one on an individual floor, that we can require it to be a 24-hour fix. But if it's just a damaged smoke detector, it would be a little bit. And then the tampering with life safety devices is technically ours as well. So the ability to be able to find an individual that removes a smoke detector.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. All right. So what's the plan for next week on this then? If we're going to make these changes, first of all, are we going to get these changes done by next Tuesday?
That if Michael has time, hopefully that would be the case. If it feels like it's being rushed or anything, we'll have time and we'll push it one more meeting. But the goal would be to have it for next week.
Okay. So, I mean, we've already I can't talk today. We've already advertised next week as the public hearing and second reading for this. Obviously, we can table that if we need to.
No, so public hearing, second reading is for the artisan.
Oh, not for this one.
No,
I
this-
thought it was for both.
Yeah, no, this is just be the introduction.
for the-
So we can.
Got
do
it.
this
Got
one.
it. Okay. Got it.
Just for the ordinance
Got it.
on the artisan.
Sorry, I thought both of them were on second reading. Okay.
No, this never made it to a first one officially.
Got it. All right. All right. Anything else on that? All right. Item C, appointments to Rec Commission.
So we do have two reappointments to the Rec Commission. It is Bob Stevenson and Christina Creeling. They've been serving on the commission for multiple years now, multiple terms. They're both happy to continue to serve. Brian suggested that they continue to do so. So their term is expiring February 20th. So we would be reappointing them unless you have any concerns or questions about that.
Know them both very well. Good people. All right. That takes care of council meeting topics. Item 4 on the agenda, other discussion, parking regulations.
So, I've been working with Chief on this, and we've had a handful of businesses that have been talking about the concern of people abusing the 2-hour parking limit. People staying parked out by a meter basically all day long during business hours. For some businesses, it hinders what they're doing. Some businesses probably enjoy it because they have people that come in and stay a little bit longer. So there's a little bit of a mixed bag, but more importantly, the regulation is 2 hours. So, we want to, as long as everybody's comfortable with it, we're gonna advertise the concept of the 2-hour parking a little bit better. One of the big things is that the parking meters, when they were enforced, were from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So, the expectation was that the 2-hour parking limit would also be during those hours. I think there might have been some confusion about that, if it's meant to be a 24-hour enforcement or just during business hours. So we're gonna promote it as being enforceable between 9 AM and 6 PM, talk to people about the fact that it's gonna start to be enforced, and then begin to enforce it to try to remind people that it is a 2-hour limit. But we'll do our best to put it out for a few weeks before we actually start enforcement. Chief, me and Chief have talked about a process for that. This is not meant to be a revenue-making
No.
adventure, or initiative, but just following through. So, anything to add about?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. I think Mr. O'Brien said it perfectly. As a matter of policy for the mayor and council, I think the businesses are split. I believe Hayden did and perhaps Lydia did kind of an informal poll a year or two ago, and very, very mixed opinions from the actual business owners. In terms of enforcement from the police department, we're obviously at your service. We'll enforce what you want, how you want. The only concern I have right now is when the signs went up, the new signs, like the white and green signs, they look really nice and professional. But the parking meters are the only place that has an actual time. As Mr. O'Brien said, 9 to 5, I think, or 9 to 6, whatever you said. And it also says Monday through Friday. So one of the things we ran into is we had one business owner come and complain twice about Saturdays. Once was during Storybook Holiday, once was during an event when somebody rented City Place. But notwithstanding, in his mind, he sees these 2-hour signs and thinks, why can these guys park here for any purpose longer than 2 hours? When in reality, I don't think our officers can appropriately write a ticket on a Saturday when the meters designate times Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So what I would recommend and ask is, could we put up stickers on the signs or something that designates those times? The city did that with the snow ordinance signs when it changed from like November to December, and I think that worked fine. They were heavy-duty stickers. They just put it right over the dates on there. I think that would avoid complaints that are not innocently not meritorious, and it wouldn't have people thinking the city's not doing anything on like a Saturday when legally I don't think we can. I would encourage that. Other than that, we have assigned Cadet Ritchie just today, Lieutenant Sight specifically assigned him once a week to take care of these duties with a police officer, so he can monitor the cameras. So minimum, and that's not the only time we'll do it, but the minimum, there'll be one designated time randomly each week where our young cadet will spend some time doing that, and the officer will write the ticket or take care of it. And we'll have additional times as well.
Do we know the people that are parking all day there? Is it the same person all the time?
Well, that's a great question. What I have, what the idea was really, it is harder to enforce, and I think I knew that, and we knew that going into it. We have the benefit of cameras that help some, but theoretically it was kind of supposed to be primarily complaint driven. If you're a business owner or somebody's parking out here all day, it theoretically should be easy. Talk to us, call us, we'll come check it out, we can check the tag, we can attempt to identify and speak with the owner, hopefully prevent the problem long term. It's reactive in the sense it's complaint driven, but it's sort of proactive in problem solving, and then instead of just writing a $15 ticket and leaving, talk to the person, get them not to park there. So the guy from Saturday did think it was some folks from a neighboring entity. Mr. O'Brien preferred to speak with them, I believe he did, or has that on his agenda. So sometimes, yeah, that is effective to say, hey, your neighbors are complaining you can't park here. How about going to this free city lot behind Armstrong's or behind St. Michael's? That hasn't always happened in practice. Sometimes, honestly, it would be super easy. Who is it parking there every day? Call us, send us an email. It would be pretty easy to do that, I think. But we haven't had a lot of people take us up on that, I think.
Yeah, how long have we been into this so far? I mean, the 2-hour parking chief?
At least a year.
What's the timeline?
Second year, I think.
Second year.
That's
Second
what we
year.
think off the cuff, yeah.
And what I'm just questioning is,
Yeah.
we're gonna put out more advertisements now.
Yeah.
People don't know about it, that's my thing, it's.
My concern on just doing it Monday through Friday is that most of the businesses are open on the weekends, and that's
Yeah.
when, it gets abused during the week, but it gets
Yeah.
really abused on the weekends too. And I'm not saying I want you going out there writing tickets on Saturdays, but I would almost like to see it say, 7 days a week from whatever, 8 a.m. to
Yeah.
4 p.m. or whatever you do, that a ticket
Yeah.
could be written, because,
Yeah.
in front of my business, you can, the same 5 cars are sitting there all day, every day, and 7 days a week.
Maybe we need to advertise where they can park for
I think that's a
24
good
hours
idea.
or 8 hours,
Yeah.
we do have areas around
I think that's a great
long-term
idea.
parking available in
Yeah,
X,
yeah.
Y, and Z
That,
spots.
that was gonna be part of it, because one of the things, I drove around and when Main Street was very busy, I drove by the St. Michael's lot and
Yeah.
there's 3 cars.
There's nobody ever.
And even
Yeah.
over here in the new Mechanic Street lot.
And it's
there
not
was-
hard access either to get to that lot to Main Street. You know, it's a short walk.
Yeah, it really is a short walk, and
But I think the issue is people that are gonna be in the business long-term are parking in front of it, and then the people that just need to stop in for 10 minutes don't always wanna park down the street to come in and pop
Yeah.
in.
Or the business owner.
Yeah.
So I think there's two things going on here at the same time. Number one, I
Yes, sir.
agree that we need to look at what the terms are, if it's Monday, Friday, Monday, Saturday, so whatever, we need to look at that. But in the meantime, I don't think that we should wait until that is resolved to start enforcing the regulations that we already have.
Yes, sir.
So if right now, if it only says we can do Monday, Friday, whatever, we'll work on changing it.
yeah,
But in the meantime, start with that. So you have
Sure.
said
Yep.
Lieutenant Seitz and
Yes.
the cadet, they've already started doing this.
he did specifically instruct, Lieutenant Seitz does our schedule, so I asked Lieutenant Seitz to coordinate it, because he can schedule when Cadet Ritchie's gonna work and make sure it happens at least once a week. He specifically instructed him today, at a minimum of once a week, do this, and he notified all the police supervisors, go with him. You know, he can do the legwork, he can look at the video, he can get the information. When it's time to write a ticket, the officers can go out and write a ticket.
What, this is just a question, because somebody told me the other day that, like, students at Frostburg State write the tickets. Why does an officer have to write the ticket? I guess it's not.
I don't think it's really a problem. I've thought of that too. They have their student ticket writers and has for years. We may be able to do that with Peyton. We might want to check with Michael. I would say at best, it's just, at worst, it's probably just a matter of giving them an oath or something, like we would with perhaps a code enforcement officer. I think it can definitely be done.
Because I have
You
said
don't-
in the past, I'm
Yeah.
like, just hire somebody
Yeah.
part-time and let them, just tell them,
Yeah.
hey, 10 hours a week, go out and
I think
walk
that'd be
the street,
wonderful.
you know?
I'll
Yeah,
tell you,
that's
I
right.
would be all for that if you would entertain that. I think that it could be great experience for especially a younger person, but anybody that wants to do some work in our field, and that would help us out a lot.
Okay.
And I would say too, with regard to Commissioner Carter's comments on the time, we can do the opposite. Instead of putting stickers on the signs, if it's all the time, we can replace what's inside the meters. That's just as easy. So
Okay.
no problem either way. So we can get rid of the times or add times to the signs, whatever the mayor and council prefer.
Okay. So,
One of the things we may add too is, one of the concerns is, with tickets is if officers have to go down, for one ticket, go to court, it's not exactly the best use of their time and things like that. So one of the things that I actually know the university did is a way to encourage individuals to just pay the ticket now and not forget about it and have to deal with the flagging and the MVA and all that kind of stuff was, if you paid it within 48 hours, it was half price. If you got a $20 ticket on campus, a student saw it $10, a lot of times it's let me go take care of this now. Otherwise, it would still be on their bill when they graduated, right? And they would keep from getting the diploma. So if nobody has any concerns with that, we may try doing that as well as a way to encourage people.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I think.
Again, it's not meant to be a financial burden.
No,
It's
yeah,
meant to be
like you said, it's not, this isn't gonna be a revenue,
Yeah.
isn't intended to be a revenue generator. It's not meant to be punitive in that way, but we do have rules, and that the only way we can enforce these rules is to enforce them.
Yes, sir.
I also think we're worried a little too much about somebody taking a $15 parking ticket to circuit court, but I get it.
I would say, these aren't really hard data numbers. I'm just guessing. It's a very small fraction, maybe, 1 out of 100 or something. They're random, but yes, they occasionally do, but it's minuscule compared to the number written. And I do think they're appropriately written, but every once in a while somebody will challenge one and have a small trial at district court, yes.
All right, so next week at our council meeting, I am going to ask you if Lieutenant Seitz and
Yes.
Peyton have gone out and done that. So
Excellent,
just
yes.
Be ready for that.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
When would you like to have a discussion or make a decision on the final version of when the 2-hour parking is in place? So right now, they're gonna enforce it for the Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, because that's what's written. We talked about potentially enforcing on Saturdays. Do you want to continue to have that discussion at a later date to make that decision, or do you want to see how this goes first?
Do we need to pass a resolution to change it, or?
Not that I'm aware of. I can look into that.
I don't think so. I think it's just regulatory. I think the city probably has the authority to just regulate parking, but wouldn't hurt to check with
I can
Mr.
look into
Bryan
it.
or
We
Mr.
can
Cohen.
follow up.
Check and see. If we need a resolution, fine, we'll pass one at the next month, or, at the next meeting, but
Sounds good.
in the meantime, if not,
Yeah.
whatever you recommend is fine.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay. Next, FY '27 budget schedule.
So in your packet, you have our draft budget schedule. Our staff requests are due to finance February 2nd. I will be sending out spreadsheets this week for everybody to use for that purpose. The schedule is based entirely on last year with the dates moved one day for the calendar. And the only other thing we really wanted to point out was the hotel motel revenue requests are due February 17th. So if you guys know of anybody who usually participates in that, can you help us get the word out?
Okay.
Is that everything?
If there's anything on this schedule that you'd like to see adjusted or moved, please just let us know. We'll introduce this officially at the next work session as a final version. In the meantime, as we get ready to put budget together, if mayor and council has any priorities, areas that you want to see focused on as far as budget goes for this upcoming year, please forward them to me so I can have discussions with staff about it. Particularly if it comes to, you know, some of the projects that we've been kind of working on or we haven't gotten around to or anything like that.
Okay. All right, anything else on that? Item 4C, North Water Street redevelopment project.
Just want to bring you up to date on that project they've been working on. It's the North Water Street Townhouse project. We're hoping to get, we acquired 4 of the properties. They are owned by the city now. They're deeded to the city. We're going to get a bid proposal for demolition ready for the February council meeting and hopefully have it out to bid by March 1st. Demolition and site stabilization complete by June 1st, 2026. And these are all proposed, especially when we get to the bottom of it. Once we get them down and get the site surveyed and ready to go, we'll start reaching out to developers. I have reached out to a couple, but they don't have much interest right now as the structures are still there. They can't really see what's going on. Hopefully construction to begin in January 2027 is the goal. We do have grant funding to demolish those 3 structures through the Department of Housing and Community Development and site stabilization.
And it's to demolish them and then money left over to begin to prep
Yes,
sites.
correct. It's to prep them, potentially put in some infrastructure, water meters, sewer taps.
Okay. Comment or discussion or anything on that? No? Okay. All right, next, we've got our Frostburg 250 committee. What you guys up to?
Oh, I guess that's me. We're meeting Thursday
Okay.
for the first time at 4:30. And just to kind of go over the purpose of the committee and start brainstorming some ideas
Okay.
for celebratory events.
Okay.
I have a few ideas, but I'm not going to share them at this time.
Okay.
The foundation had mentioned potentially helping fund some of their initiatives. And at some point, we should chat about whether mayor and council, city wants to put some money towards the activities. You want to see what the activities are first to propose a budget, or if there's some money that you want to make sure it goes to it ahead of time, so that the committee can kind of decide what it is that their ability is.
That might be something good we could do if we have, depending on how hotel motel shakes out, we could maybe put some money from that.
And in regards to the 250 committee, want people to take notice that with Nick, our police officers are wearing a commemorative badge that started January 1st, will go till December 31st of next year, commemorating the 250th.
All
That's
right,
all I have on that.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bathrooms at the depot.
Yeah, so we haven't moved ahead with any construction on it yet, because I know that we wanted to have more talks about maintenance and upkeep of these bathrooms.
Who's cleaning it?
So we
Yeah.
talked to Brian this morning, and I think the best way to do it is to just go to the county and say, if we're gonna put these bathrooms here, the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad and Tracks and Yaks are gonna have to be responsible for maintenance. If they don't wanna do it, we'll just lock them and leave them there.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. That way we have the bathrooms in the future if we need them. If they don't wanna do the maintenance, they're still there. If they wanna do the maintenance, they're there.
Are we gonna be the only ones that have a key to this?
Because if they wanted to overtake maintenance, then they would get a key. But it would be us, the county, and them. But the county is pretty well left it up to our jurisdiction of whether we want it or not, so.
The main times they'd be used is on the weekends for when the train comes in or when there's an event happening down there. They wouldn't be open necessarily 9 to 5 every day or anything like that.
Okay.
County's still paying for everything, so.
The county's gonna build it,
I'm overseeing construction that they're paying for it, so.
so let's back up then. If the county's gonna build it, or is gonna finance it, and the train station's gonna maintain it, what do we need to talk about?
No, there's.
We didn't wanna get hooked with, the initial conversations a couple months ago with the county were, hey, if we build you this bathroom, would you do maintenance on it? Would you put the toilet paper in, would you mop the floor? And we don't want that.
Right, now, I remember we said about maybe having to redo that, but he's not gonna have time to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so at this point, they're still willing to pay for it and build it. And we'll have to start looking at some agreements with Western Mountain Scenic Railroad and Tracks and Yaks about, hey, what level do you guys wanna put into this? Do you, how do you wanna go about it? And then we'll go from there, so.
The,
Are you going tomorrow?
Oh, yes, but I'm gonna be late.
Well, I was gonna say you could bring it up then.
Okay.
the one thing would be potentially is that we would be responsible for actual maintenance, like not day-to-day maintenance, but if there's an issue with like a
Plumbing or something.
yeah, that would be our responsibility, but the day-to-day cleaning could be something else. The other issue would be is potentially is who's gonna actually buy like toilet paper for that, and if that's gonna be on us or the county or one of the groups. So those are the things we need to finalize before we move forward.
The last conversation I had with the county about it, they did say that they would cover utilities, so that I would assume they would be on for other things as well. Now, I don't wanna speak for them, cause I don't wanna say, oh yeah, they've agreed to cover this, and this, but the intention was for them to cover utilities as well. So, I'll touch base with them, and get an update, and then I guess the next conversation to be had would be with Western Mountain Scenic Railroad.
Oh, I can bring it up tomorrow. Their board meeting is tomorrow afternoon, so I can bring it up there.
Okay.
And then we'll see the county people next week down the road, so we can kind of talk to them.
Sounds good.
All right, man, we're getting after it. Item 4G, water main break. This was the incident on Bernard Street.
Water
F
rates
first,
first.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. I'm sorry, yes, water rate discussion. Yes.
We are working to get together the calculation for the water rate discussion with the county. That's based off of an equation that we're gonna work with. One of the things as we start to look into the budget, I just wanted to make sure everybody's starting to think about is the fee for the dam we're getting to a point where we're gonna start paying off loans for the dam, and so that fee has the potential to go down. So when rates are going up and that fee's going down, it may help balance some things out. But one of the other things that I think that we need to really start looking into is some long-term projects for water. When it comes to like line replacement, we don't have that built into a budget. And so especially when it comes to inside the city, if that fee is going away for the payment of the loan for the dam, is there a kind of a replacement fee or some sort of funding that we can put towards that to help for some of the bigger initiatives when it comes to water? We do spend a good bit of money in replacing lines as they break and things like that, but preventative maintenance would be really good to start putting in for water that we don't really normally have a budget for. So this would be a great time to do it since the cost of water should hopefully be those fees should be going down in the near future. So.
Okay.
Hayden, anything to add to that?
No, I would agree completely. It's been something that,
We talked about this like 2 years ago.
we've talked about it every year for the past 5 years. We were fortunate in that it also happened at the same time as ARPA, so we were able to actually do some with ARPA funds.
Well, but we talked about a plan
Yes,
when our loans go away.
correct, for how to kind of flip those.
Yes,
Yep.
and put it over and into,
Yep.
save it so we can,
Yeah.
do more things with it.
Part of it will be, we're going to have to assess how we use those fees. Given that, the Piney Surcharge Fund can only go towards water treatment plant west, because it's all of our customers, county included, are paying for that. So it has to be something that all of our customers would benefit from. We can't use it on a water line in Pritchard Farms, because no one in Eckerd is benefiting from a water line in Pritchard Farms. So there will be some semantics and potentially some policy changes that we have to do internally to do that, but I think it's worthwhile to do. Every year, we kind of got caught up with the ARPA funding to get to where we are, but, you know, a water line shouldn't be in the ground any longer than 25 years, and we've got stuff in the ground that's still 40 years old. So,
And the fee that everybody, all of our customers pay both in and outside of the city, when that goes away for the dam, it may be something that we're replacing with a smaller fee for just city residents, so we can do the lines inside the city. But that's something we can talk about as we can move forward. It is worth pointing out that the cost of treating water and those types of things are going up. You know, Cumberland, I think in their most recent rate change, went up like 20%, and obviously we're trying to avoid that.
it's also worth noting too that Piney Reservoir, you know, all these original payments were for the sake of paying off the dam. The dam is also now 30 years old. So it's worthwhile to keep a reserve there for repairs. You know, the cheapest repairs out there are about 50 grand. So just to keep in the back of our minds as we're going through this budget process.
So there should be a fee that still goes towards the dam, but not necessarily one as big because the one's going up.
Right, okay.
Yeah. You know, each valve out there is about 50 grand now, and each pump out there at a minimum is about 100 grand. So just to remember.
Just little parts.
This small cog in the operation.
Right. All right, now,
Yeah.
the main break that occurred on Bernard Street that caused some property damage.
The fun one. So 2 months ago on Bernard Street, up at the sort of up at the top there, I'll leave the address, specific address out and the name of the family out. But we had a main break on an 8-inch concrete line, and where the line was, it fell above a house, and while it was leaking, it ran along their tap and into their basement and flooded their basement. I did some rough calculations. It was probably about 10,000 gallons of water we put through their basement. And of course, the way we've always done things is whenever these happen, it's always been that we handle that. And I told the homeowner very clearly, we will handle this. You know, when these have happened in the past, we have taken care of it, and I told the homeowner that. Of course, as things go on, we get ServPro in there to do all the mold and water remediation, and I'd have them hold off on any more because we don't want to go into repairs until we get an idea of cost. Normally, we would approach Legit with this and say, hey, here's these costs we're incurring. We would like you to cover them. That's why we pay for insurance. Legit has put their foot in the ground and said they're not going to cover this one. They are under the impression that it was not our fault that the water line burst, and that it should be on the homeowner to go through their insurance to get these costs covered. I went back and forth for about 2 months and kind of said, why do I pay for insurance if we're not going to cover these things? And they just don't want to do it. So now I'm just coming to you and telling you all that the remediation costs were approximately $9,000. Restoration to the basement, based on the quote we've gotten, is going to be about $21,000. Now it is a completely finished basement. There are rooms in there. People did live in that basement, and there was a home office in there. I just feel like it is important to bring to your all's attention that this is going to be about a $31,000 bill for repairing this basement.
Insurance won't cover.
Yeah, so it's
So in the past, insurance hasn't covered it either. The city's often put up the cost for it. It's just in the past when this has happened, it's been not.
No, I think he meant our insurance, or did you mean
Yeah.
homeowners?
well,
No, ours.
ours.
Yeah.
Ours, yeah.
So they said, what if we were digging? Why wasn't it our fault?
We weren't digging.
It was a break.
It was a main line, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it wasn't their line.
correct.
No, but so the way that, because I talked to the representative from Legit as well and went back and forth about this. We had a similar issue with a walnut falling off of a tree. What it comes down to is there's nothing negligent the city did. So water lines exist in the world, you know, main lines exist in the world. Sometimes mains break. Had we been digging and we hit the line, it would absolutely be our fault and our insurance would cover it. If we had a contractor that was doing it, if we had put the lines in the wrong way, if there was anything that we had done that led to it, it would have been, but sometimes things break and that's what insurance is for. So that's how Legit was always going to look at this kind of situation. We had a similar issue when something flooded because we created a bottleneck while doing CSO projects, because the CSO project was halfway done. When that happened, it was covered, should have been covered by insurance because that was our fault. It was in a process of something we were doing. But, so, one of the things to look at in the future too, though, is if we know that insurance is never gonna cover these types of things when it's an act of God, we've been doing it because it, you know, good neighbor makes sense, but, you know, legally, I don't know that we're necessarily responsible for it, especially if costs are gonna start getting high. Is this,
Well, and I'm
This
just
is the
worried that
process
it's gonna
going-
set a precedent.
I agree.
well, yeah, well, we've kind of set that already in the past, so we do need to
Yeah.
make a decision if it was the wrong precedent to set moving forward. This is what we're gonna,
Yeah,
that we're gonna say that if our insurance doesn't cover it, your insurance doesn't cover it, you know, maybe we can pay for abatement, but nothing else. Like, we need to decide what that is, or we pay for nothing.
yeah, just so I know how to proceed in the future too.
It may be something that's worth talking to Michael about as well, because if we pay for abatement, we may be saying that we're taking responsibility for what happened, and then we really have to pay for everything and those types of things. So, future conversation, bigger conversation, but.
Yeah, and part of the reason that the city had started doing this, because we've done it this way for a long time. And this is according to my predecessor, but part of the reason it was originally done this way was just sort of out of a good faith effort for one, but two, what they have actually run into in the past is Frostburg would go to the homeowner and say, please turn this into your homeowner's insurance, have them cover it. And their homeowner's insurance has come back and said, you don't have a flood policy, we're not gonna cover it. Which to me is semantics, because it's a mechanical break, it's not a flood, but insurance companies, so.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't have flood insurance, because when I think of flood, I think of what happened to Western Fork.
Yeah,
And
when
that
you're on
type
top
of
of,
thing, and not,
when you're on top of a mountain,
yeah.
I think you're gonna get.
I'm sure I don't either, and the house you're talking about, I can see their house
Yeah.
from mine, so and I'm sure I don't have it either.
Maybe something for everybody to think about, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess point being, I wanted to bring it all to your attention. And Patrick and I are gonna get into the weeds of everything, figure out how to move forward with this in the future so we don't get hamstrung like this. Whether it's a further conversation with Legit, whether it's just a new policy from us that says, here's how it works. That's a conversation with Michael Cohen. And then go from there. I was looking through my budgets to make sure that having to pay for it, we'll be able to. And what I'm gonna do is take it out of our transmission main budget. Part of it for the repairs to the home, and then another part of it from a different water budget for remediation, just to make sure that the money
Okay.
works. So, but yeah, so not good news, but we'll learn from it, do better in the future.
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and make a more
Yeah.
concrete policy
Yeah.
for what we'll do in the future, but I mean, in the meantime,
It's what we've been doing.
that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on that? Okay. Next, new software, housing and code enforcement software.
Go ahead, you have the numbers.
Sure. Edmunds, which is the group we use for a good bit of our software, including the new rental software that we're going to put in effect for Parks and Rec, has a code enforcement software. The one that we currently use, there's been some struggles with. When they originally were supposed to put everything over, they were supposed to upload everything for us, and when Bethany was here, they spent a week entering in all the properties themselves and things like that. They've run into some problems. They're not exactly responsive all the time. We work really well with Edmunds because we've had some other things, and they offered up this software. We met with them. It does everything, as we can see so far, does everything the last Roger does. In the end, it will also be, I think it's about $1,000 cheaper a year. So you can't beat that. The one issue being is there's a pretty hefty upfront cost. It's about $9,000 to set it up. If we want them to transfer all the data from all the properties that we have in the current system, it would be about another 11, so it could be an initial cost of up to $20,000. But one of the great things about it, it would allow everybody to pay for permits, code enforcement, and rental property stuff online. So it would have it would be the same system as the taxes and water bill. So when rental stuff comes up, there's gonna be another box that pops up for rentals, and then there'll be another box that would pop up for permits and code enforcement. So all the concept of going upstairs, getting a permit, then getting walked downstairs to pay it, everybody would get just the 4-digit number, that PIN like everybody has on their water bill, and you could pay for permits and code enforcement fees and stuff like that. So it allows for an online portal for people to pay online. So it also brings us into the future as far as that goes. So it's something that we're looking at. Wanted to see if there's any big concerns from mayor and council before we start to look at potentially including it in the budget. This is something that takes 13 months to implement. So we're gonna stick with our current one, obviously for the upcoming year. The goal would be, as I think we renew with them, if we can get a 1-year contract with them and work on this, it would be that this would be implemented the year after. But it would put a little bit more of a cost for that software this year because they implemented.
I guess my question is, you said about the initial setup cost, it's X, it's this much if we need the old data and this much for whatever. And I guess this is something to look into. Would we need to import all of the old data from the past? If it's something that, and I mean, I don't need an answer right now. That's something we can look into. If it's gonna cost this much to import, old permitting data from 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago, whatever, is that something that we feel like we need that is worth the cost?
So, and it's one of the things we're looking to. So the way that they did the quote was based off of basically 10 years of incorporating data. They normally do it a certain like $1,000, or $1,500 a year or something like that. This was for like new groups, so it does just 10 years. We don't have 10 years of data because our online system isn't that old. We have about 3. So that's a price that we can go back to them and we may be able to negotiate. So the answer is maybe, and it may not be that expensive either. So, that would really be a conversation for Jay and John to have about how important records are from the last time, a house was inspected and things like that, to be on the iPad when he walks into a building.
We are currently working on the record retention. I started it last week
Okay.
to submit to Maryland for community development.
Okay.
We'll have that for review once I get it, all of it done.
Are you doing algebra or anything?
Yeah, it looks like a process.
I'm good.
All right, so we can look at that then. Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be cheaper in the long run, I'm down with that. All right, next thing, item 4I, which is election update.
So, just wanted to make sure everybody is aware that the election process has officially started. Candidates can submit their paperwork anytime up to March 20th. This is a tentative schedule. This is on our website. Off of the main page, it's 2026 municipal elections, and it'll have all this information, the forms for people to sign up for or sign up with, and all that type of thing. But I wanted to just make sure everybody was aware of it. Ask if anybody had any questions about the upcoming election and the process. I think everybody's been through it, so you guys probably know what's going on pretty well. Board of Elections did meet once, had a good meeting, and we will be meeting again on the 29th at 4:30 to talk about next steps and what happens moving forward with some of this stuff. So, Board of Elections is all new people, so a lot of learning to do, but they started off strong. So.
Good. Okay. Anything else?
Do you want to do a pace update?
Sure. Pace update. And while I'm thinking about it real quick, did you get the permit today?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Looking pretty good there. So, now, of course, now it's not going to be time dependent. So, to make a long story short, the county is approaching PACE differently this year, and they let us know that about a week ago. So, the way they're going to do it is they are going to, and I also don't want to, I'm only going to speak for what I know, I don't want to speak incorrectly. The way they're going to do it is just a large-scale, county-wide meeting, I think everybody together, potentially all morning, where they are going to discuss issues facing the entirety of the county, which seems to be policing, workforce development, housing, of course the flooding, and then a few other odds and ends. Again, I don't want to speak for things that we don't know 100% about.
The list I was given includes policing, workforce development / jobs, flood cost, economic development, housing.
Yep. So they want to kind of do all that at once. Where that leaves us, the suggestion made to me by the county was that we should pursue our own separate meetings with these individual funding agencies. So I have begun to do that. I have reached out to all of our big funding groups, and out of them so far, ARC has followed up, USDA has followed up, MDE has followed up, CDBG has followed up. So the big four have all reached back out to me and said they would like to make time. As soon as they know the schedule, they'll get 20 to 45 minutes for me to sit in front of them and kind of give them a synopsis.
So we don't have our time?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Now, like I said, the counties, their whole thing is still unraveling.
That's
They-
what he said. So like in the past where we've had, okay, Frostburg's at 1 o'clock and Cumberland's at 1:30, they're not doing it that way this year.
Okay.
They're doing one big meeting. The county's gonna facilitate with everybody that Hayden's thinking might be in the morning. It
Yeah,
might be
okay.
9, 10 in the morning.
So there won't be an opportunity necessarily to propose one project like we have in the past. It's gonna be a discussion, and I don't know if at that time we'll be able to talk about projects that we have, or if it's more about talking about some of the issues we're facing.
So what I've been doing is trying to get times throughout the day with each of these groups where we can have slightly more one-on-one meetings with them to sit down and say, if we want the whole group from Frostburg to be in this meeting, we can. Some of them I anticipate when it's just me and an MDE engineer sitting down. I don't know if you guys particularly want to sit down and talk through, nitrogen removal rates with them, but you're welcome to. We're making good progress on getting at least one meeting with each of the funding agencies to sit down with them one-on-one.
But they won't all be at the same time.
Are we sitting in on this county meeting?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So
So the meetings with the funding agencies will be like more one-on-one. So it might be like, for example, us and MDE at 1 o'clock, but it'll just be MDE. It won't be like the whole panel, and then us with USDA at 1:30.
And these aren't as official as they have in the past, so we also don't have a meeting room or anything like that. So the chances are it's gonna be Hayden and maybe Emily sitting down with an engineer in the lobby, giving them a packet, being like, hey, this is just an update on where we're going, do you have any questions about what we're doing? More of that kind of thing, and not a presentation for funding.
Meet up in room 246.
Yeah.
Come on.
So,
They
Good
have,
for us.
they do have these, of course they do have the side, all the little conference rooms at the hotel. So Patrick and I are confident that we can kind of block off one of those small side rooms and just keep it as our room there. I'm still gonna do the same presentation to all these different groups. It'll just be,
But it won't be a PowerPoint or anything, it'll be like a one pager or, a small packet kind of thing. It's gonna be 20, so.
the important ones are MDE and CDBG, USDA. And most of those groups already know what we're doing. This will just kind of be to get in front of them and say, hey, here's an update. Here's what I will be applying for at your organization.
So the focus for the bigger group will be the county meeting. If for some reason during this process Hayden has the secretary showing up or something like that, we'll make sure everybody's aware so you can be there as well. But if it's just the engineers and simple projects, let them do their things.
Yeah, if that happens, I'll make sure I give a heads up.
Chief Costello.
Thank you, Mayor. Do you know what time offhand the policing component is or when the county meeting is? I'll be there at Pace, and I can be there at any time.
Still waiting on
Still
details.
waiting? Okay.
All we know at this point, because I don't think the county truly knows what they're doing yet.
Yeah,
All we know at this point is that they were aiming for doing this large meeting in the morning.
okay.
So that could be.
But that could be 8, or that could be 11.
Yep, yes, sir.
And I don't, like I said, I don't want to speak to anything and get things wrong on their behalf. So as details come out, I'll follow up.
Yes, sir.
I imagine we'd know by Monday at the latest. Leading
Sounds
into
great.
next week,
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will say that I do think, this is, the purpose of it is probably relatively strategic. A lot of the topics are, some of the focuses on budget from the governor's office and things like that.
Yeah, this list is exactly the same list that the governor mentioned. These are going to be his budgeting priorities for the year. So they just copy pasted that and said, well, that's what we'll talk about then.
And so I think this may be a good way to, if the money's available, how do we, as a county, come together to really go after it and see what we can get? So,
Yeah. Which it might give us a good opportunity to pivot and look towards water sales. So if it's a county-wide event, so which is what we're working towards anyway.
And just for those that are traveling down for Pace, we'll get an email out this week about making travel arrangements if anybody wants to ride with somebody or something.
You're not going this time?
I'm not,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, I guess, say, well, you guys and I guess Nina, be prepared. It might be super early.
That's fine.
So
And I'll try to reach out to Jason tomorrow and see if he has a better idea what time it is.
Jason Bennett.
Yeah.
hopefully it's
Just ending around those.
10 a.m. But be prepared for the worst.
That's
Getting
fine.
into Annapolis,
Yeah, I
still
think
may
we've
want
had
to
it
be
at
5 a.m.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, it's usually been. We've done that and then had like a late lunch. Whatever. We'll make one. Anything else? Commissioner Grove.
No,
Mr. Carter. Commissioner Ritchie. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.